Cool. So this week saw Mantic Games taken to their blog to do a whole series of both written posts and videos with Ronnie talking about their new sort of expansion version of the game for Walking Dead. This is called Call to Arms, which is their sort of new take on it, which sort of levels things up, I guess you'd say. So with Walking Dead All Out War, the sort of basic premise of it was that you take your gang of survivors, you go up against other gang of survivors, and you'd either play through narrative scenarios and stuff on the tabletop against other people, or you'd be doing stuff set up, with your own ideas, and you'd also have the walkers and stuff thrown into the mix. So each side was probably made up of around sort of between 5 and 10 miniatures a side kind of thing. This takes things to the next level and sort of makes it a bigger skirmish game where you've got larger factions going up against other factions, turning into a proper little bit of a war game here. There's also still the walkers in the mix, but it means that you're going to have a lot of sort of alliances between people on the sort of good side and the bad side, if there are such things in the Walking Dead universe, getting stuck into it. So yeah, they did a whole series of videos this week. So we're talking about the game and diving into a little bit more detail about it. They actually had an interview with Mark Latham, who wrote the rules for the game as well, which is pretty cool. And I believe there's a whole stuff you can get stuck into as well. So you can kind of give it a little bit of a preview and see what you think about it before diving in. I'm not so sure about this. I think one of the joys of Walking Dead was the fact that you could play as that smaller group of survivors, dealing with very tense situations. It'd be very interesting to see how people pick up on the sort of like larger scale fighting that you see in Call to Arms. But yeah, if you're interested, go check it out on their blog.
You see, for me, this kind of fits thematically, because as the story progresses in The Walking Dead, you do see the survivor groups, they get bigger, they bring more people in, and then you have like the battles between the Saviors and Rick's gang, and it just makes sense that you would scale up like this thematically.
I like it. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, you like your Walking Dead, don't you?
I love The Walking Dead. I've got the first 5 seasons of it, as in the game.
The releases.
Very cool. Yeah.
And the way they've set this up is the basic core mechanics are the same for the Here's Negan board game, the All Out War standard game, and then a Call to Arms. So if you know the one system, it's very easy to move from one to the other and back again. And if you have a load of stuff like I do, they're selling the faction decks, so they're selling a lawful and I'm assuming evil deck. Because they're actually split into 3 different types. You've got lawful, neutral, and then bad. Yeah. So the saviors would be very bad, and bad people can have neutral, but they can't have lawful. Lawful can have neutral, but they can't have bad, and neutral can have either or. You can't mix. You can't have a neutral character in
never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, so you can decide which way to go with them. So if you've already got a load of the stuff from it, you can jump in here, and the beta rules have been kicking around now for a while because they were looking for feedback on them. So I quite like what they've done with it. There's a lot of customization, and in a lot of cases, the games I played outside of the narrative scenarios went like this anyway, where it was like, here's the gang I will build against my friends, and just seeing how they actually ended up. So it's more or less just, like you say, it is the next sort of logical step after you hit those sort of narrative junctions where you do hit the big clashes between the kingdom and Rick's gang and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, see, I always loved the game because of that customizability, and you could just have some really funny moments because you could do Negan and the Apprentice, which is Sophia with a baseball bat.
Generally bring as many kids as I possibly can with Negan, because you just brain one of them for the other ones to get extra actions to make sure I don't do it to you. So that was always good. But even things like the way they've changed walkers in this, so walkers still work like walkers, but if in the walker phase, if enough walkers are close enough together, they get a big mob base that has multiple attacks and multiple wounds, essentially, and they move as a clump. It's called the herd. So you can actually stymie your opponent by moving ones together to actually force a herd to spawn, and then
I then start shifting it towards them.
Yeah. I think the other thing they've also done is they've changed the sound mechanics. They've got rid of the threat tracker and sound, which works for the narrative game, but in a cross-table fight, you're not really worried about making sound. The walkers have been there for some time. Everybody really knows how to deal with walkers. It's not as big a problem these days. So it's a case of just go nuts. Yeah, they're going to move, but hey ho, who cares?
Yeah. Now I do have to wonder, because it's more of a stand-up fight game. Whenever you're killing your opponent's miniatures, do you actually have to check as you kill them? Are they going to turn into a walker? Are they going to come back?
Oh yeah, it's the same as standard game. If it's not a headshot, then they're going to get back up again. So always aim for the head. We learned that from Starship Troopers. Aim for the spine, put them down for good.
Well, no, you see, because if it's someone in the middle of your opponent's forces, you take them out, and suddenly you're making walkers rise up amongst your opponent's forces. That's really going to throw your tactics a bit.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. It's random. You don't know if you're going to get a headshot whenever you roll, so you can't predict it. You can't play for it.
But it reminds me of when I was watching the TV show. I know this is based on the comics, but there was a fight I saw where Rick's group was just fighting the Saviors, and they weren't aiming to headshot folks. They were just aiming to knock them down and just wait for them to come back, and then have walkers in and amongst the Saviors that they were trying to kill,
right.
which was very, very cool.